A train derails in a northern Kentucky community, leading to evacuations and a shelter-in-place order. We have team coverage beginning with the latest on the situation.
Grief counselors were on hand for students at a Lexington school as they start the year mourning the loss of a classmate.
We're tracking the investigation into a fire at a business investigators say is suspicious.
This is WKYT News at 5.
Good afternoon. A train derailment caused problems for people in a northern Kentucky community this afternoon. That train derailed near Woodson Street in Falmouth in Pendleton County just before 11 this morning.
Officer Don Evans shot this video of the scene from Sky First. As you can see right there, the derailment led to evacuations, a road closure, and a power outage. There's a big cleanup ahead, but things have started to calm down near the scene. WKYT's Sean Moody is live to begin our top story team coverage at 5.
Hey, Andrea and Amber, the big question all day long was whether or not there was any kind of a hazardous material spill associated with this derailment. For hours, a hazmat team was here on site in town trying to figure out if any harmful chemicals came out of those cars. Now, while they worked, people who weren't already here in town had to stay out on the outskirts of town. They weren't allowed in just to be safe. Thankfully, we learned just a little over an hour ago there was no hazmat spill. A CSX spokesperson said this train had 125 cars in all. It was headed from just north of here in Cincinnati down to Atlanta when it derailed right here in the middle of Falmouth near Woodson Street. Now, 23 of those cars derailed. Initially, there was some concern that some hazardous materials might have spilled out. Some people were evacuated and the whole town was put under a shelter-in-place advisory. They were told to stay inside and turn off the AC. Obviously not a great day to be dealing with that. And people who had already left their homes couldn't get back into town. They were concerned about medications, pets, things like that. Finally, right around 3:30 this afternoon, they said it was all clear. Now it's just a matter of cleaning up this mess.
Now we're into a recovery cleanup stage. There will be a lot of heavy equipment here along the railroad tracks cleaning this up, so we'd like to ask that people stay away from that area. We're going to try to cordon that off as much as possible.
There was also a power outage associated with this derailment. That train took out a power pole when it derailed, so they are working on that. We're not sure exactly how much progress they've made with restoring power. This is US 27 right behind me. It was shut down a lot of the day. It is now opening, but those back streets back there near where the railroad tracks are, there is still a lot of heavy equipment back there. A CSX representative said it'll take a while to get this all cleaned up, certainly days, perhaps weeks. Live in Falmouth, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Thank you, Sean. The American Red Cross is on the scene to help out. Flower Creek Church also set up a shelter for anyone who needed a place to stay. While most people near the scene were told to stay in their homes, emergency managers did ask a school to evacuate.
Children were taken from Southern Elementary to Pendleton County High School, where their parents picked them up. WKYT Sabira Rayford continues our top story team coverage with more on the evacuation.
All day long, parents have been showing up to Pendleton County High School to pick up their kids. Parents tell us they received a call early this morning telling them that their kids have been evacuated from Southern Elementary. Pendleton County Superintendent Dr. Anthony Strong says his office was contacted by emergency management saying that a train had derailed near Southern Elementary. Strong says a couple of hours later they got another call telling them to evacuate the students in the school. All day long, staff members have been working to check out the elementary students to their parents. Superintendent Strong says the school followed typical procedure by evacuating the students and turning off the air conditioning in the school after emergency management contacted them. Parents tell us they left work early to pick up their kids from the high school.
It was a little shocking, to be quite honest about it. I mean, third day of school, and my children go to Southern, so they had to bring them up here to the high school. So, I don't know, I was a little nervous, really.
Superintendent Strong tells us they've had this evacuation plan for a while. In Pendleton County, Sabira Rayford, WKYT.
And as for the high school students, they stayed on their normal schedule. Remember, you can stay up to date on the train derailment by visiting WKYT.com. Well, you might get under a shower or storm later tonight.
It's all part of this steamy and stormy pattern we've kind of been stuck in for a while. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is here to tell us what's ahead.
You got it. Pretty much more of the same out there. Many areas dealing with the steam, some areas dealing with the storm part of that as well. Let's throw the humidity and the temperature and put them together and see what we can come up with. How about a heat index that is 96 degrees right now for Moorhead, Mount Sterling, Lexington, and into Danville. Feels like only 91 London. We have some clouds nearby, but again, a lot of those mid-90s showing up across the entire area. Actual thermometers are mainly mid to upper 80s and 90s sprinkled in to our west. Defender Radar Network dealing with a couple of isolated showers and storms into southern Kentucky. Today's action not as widespread as what we had yesterday, though to the southeast of Jackson here into Breathitt County, just to the south of 30, not too far away from Haddocks, Hardshell, up toward the Rusaw area of Breathitt County. A little thunder and lightning that extends to the north now into Menifee County near Owingsville, and then the strongest storm across the entire state is working out in northern Fleming County, southeastern Mason County, into parts of Lewis County. How about the Lexington Metro? Check that out. Nothing going on. We've been trying to build a little shower and thunderstorm, not having very much luck in doing so, and that hour-by-hour future radar shows maybe the chance for an isolated shower or storm heading into the overnight. But you see this big spin down across the Gulf Coast. That is kind of a semi-tropical low. It has a ton of juice with it, and in a few minutes I'll show you why that system is going to impact our weather around here, and it's probably not a good thing for the weekend.
It was a sad start to the school year at Booker T. Washington Elementary in Lexington. Counselors were on site to help students and staff cope with the loss of 11-year-old DeShannon Davis. Davis drowned last Sunday after falling into a pond at Lexington Cemetery. Family Resource Coordinator Monica Hall says trying to explain death and loss to young children can be difficult.
How do you make them understand?
I don't think there's any magic number or a recipe for you to do that. You just let them talk and then, share, just try to work through their feelings and just help them cope with it the best that, you can.
DeShannon would have started the 6th grade this afternoon at Leestown Middle School. We'll have more on DeShannon and the legacy he left behind coming up on WKYT at 6. A business remains closed after a suspicious fire. The fire caused heavy damage to the Family Dollar store on Main Street in Richmond yesterday.
Employees don't know right now when that store will reopen. WKYT's Victor Puente is tracking the investigation into how that fire started.
Police believe this fire was intentionally set. They tell me a clerk smelled what they believe to be lighter fluid before the store began to fill up with smoke. The fire that started Tuesday afternoon caused heavy damage to the Family Dollar store on Main Street in Richmond. The fiance of a man who worked there says he's now out of a job.
They said that the damage inside, they will not be able to reopen the store. He's actually out of a job over it because when they put the fire out, there was actually a lot of water damage on the inside as well. It was leaking out of the side of the building yesterday.
This video taken by investigators shows the area where they believe the fire started. They say an employee smelled lighter fluid and then saw 2 men leave the store.
The manager had told us that the toilet paper had been caught on fire, so I don't know, it was really scary.
Yesterday, firefighters said they would be looking at surveillance video from inside the store. Police tell me they're still trying to access that video and plan on releasing it if it shows the people responsible.
It was really scary. I was just grateful that he wasn't at work and that nobody was hurt. That was our big concern. We stopped in to check on his coworkers.
Police did get a description of one of those men. They tell me he was a white male with a thin build who had a beard and brown hair and was wearing an orange shirt. They say the clerk believed he was in the area where the fire started and then left out the front door. In Madison County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
The neighboring building that used to house a CVS was also damaged.
Officials blame a lack of funding for upsetting conditions at a Boyd County cemetery. That begins our county-by-county coverage at 5. The grass at Cattlesburg Cemetery has grown so high it's starting to make headstones hard to see. The cemetery manager says they're out of funds for upkeep. The money comes from a one-time payment when people buy plots, and plot sales have been down.
The whole problem is somebody has it in their mind that the cemetery has this big bank account of perpetual care, and we don't.
The manager says there have been conversations about the city taking the cemetery over, but the cemetery is a corporation and the city would have to buy it. According to documents, the state dissolved the cemetery corporation in September of 2014. In Perry County, a car crash ends with a driver facing drug charges. Hazard police say 28-year-old Savannah Napier turned left in front of a car at Independence Drive and Dawhare Drive. The car went down a hill on Dawhare Drive, crossed the center line, and hit a Kentucky Transportation Cabinet truck head-on. Police tell us they found marijuana and meth in Napier's car. She was taken to a hospital and later cited. The truck driver refused treatment at the scene.
Donald Trump's unscripted moments and Hillary Clinton's emails continue to plague the campaigns. I'm Craig Boswell at the White House. That's coming up.
There's some new cookies coming to the Girl Scouts lineup. We'll tell you about the delicious additions in Better Living.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Scattering showers and thunderstorms over the past, 2 months now, and that's going to continue. And if anything, the thunderstorm threat's going to ramp up as we go into the coming weekend. We are in search for some of the scattered stuff out there right now. Live Skycam as we look toward the eastern horizon out of Lexington, Winchester Road, and see that little thunderhead there in the distance. That's with some stuff not too far away from the Moorhead area. Lexington, more in the way of sun and clouds. It's upper 80s, but it feels like 96 degrees right now. So that's the sweat factor that you often hear me talk about. What's the old saying? It's not the heat, it's the humidity. That has been our summer around here. What an absolutely off the charts humid summer that is increasing over the next several days, leading to some thunderstorms out there. Isolated stuff from London over towards Somerset down to Monticello, hello Williamsburg. A little shower not too far away from Jellicoe, Tennessee. We get into Breathitt County, southeastern Kentucky. Had a little thunder and lightning here southeast of Jackson over the past 10 minutes or so. Northward into Frenchburg, Owingsville, and especially north of Flemingsburg, getting close to the Vanceburg area. Thunder and lightning, ramping it up a notch or two with that. A lot of lightning over the past 15 minutes. Lexington Metro's thunderstorms have been avoiding this area all day long. I'm not going to complain too much at all. I don't think too many folks in central Kentucky will complain if the storms dodge us for a change. Will our luck hold up into the day tomorrow? Probably not. Some scattered stuff will be around. Not an all-day event by any means. A lot of upper 80s out there. Similar to today, it's going to feel a lot hotter than that just because the humidity. Temperatures normal, mid and upper 80s. You get the humidity into the mix, that's way above normal. Spin across the northern Gulf of Mexico and into the deep south. This has a ton of tropical moisture with it, and it is slowly but surely throwing little waves of rain northward across the Mississippi Valley, through the Tennessee Valley, and into the Ohio Valley. And it's not just going to be this constant rain. So if you're making some outdoor plans over the next few days, you're going to have several dry hours out there. And some of you may have just a completely dry day. Others will have thunderstorms that can drench the ground and then kick it up a notch or two into the coming weekend. So let's break down the next 3 days. Scattered stuff tomorrow that will increase on Friday and even more so on Saturday when heavy rainfall becomes likely during that time. One computer model, it's a snapshot of that one computer model. Here's the latest snapshot of rainfall forecast numbers for the next week. Pretty impressive. Anytime you're seeing a model suggesting anything greater than 2 or 3 inches, you got to be on guard. And again, it's not all coming at once, but it is a setup that at some point over the next week is likely to absolutely open up on parts of Kentucky and parts of the Ohio Valley. When and where that happens and how many times that happens remains to be seen, but we've got to be on guard for the next several days.
What's that little picture on Saturday?
That
I've been wondering that the whole time.
That is Shakespeare. That is our Midsummer Night's Run coming up on Saturday.
Did you know I was the
Lexington.
fastest kid in town?
I didn't know that.
When I was
really?
little. I swear I'm not lying.
And we'll have that this
Your
week.
claim to fame.
I have the
You've been holding
newspaper
out on
clipping
us.
saved.
We're in royalty and we didn't even know it. The
I know,
presence of
y'all.
royalty. Huh?
We need to find that and show it. That's what we need to do.
I look like a boy, but that's okay.
Live look at Lexington rush hour traffic and a collision at Pink Pigeon and Man o' War. That's a non-injury. It's one lane of Pink Pigeon's block just before Man o' War. Also, they're clearing the one at Tate's Creek in Kirk-Levington. Still pretty slow, though. Nicholasville Road, you can see that from Southland out to the Circle, bumper to bumper right now. Drive times to Nicholasville, holding our own about 18 minutes, a little slower ride now. 21 minutes to Paris, to Winchester, 27. Now back to you.
The candidates for president can't get away from certain issues on the campaign trail, the problems that keep plaguing them ahead.
And police say a man committed a crime just moments after leaving a hearing. What he did and what police are doing to find him on WKYT News at 5:30.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
As Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump sprint through battleground states in the race for the White House, reoccurring issues shadow the candidates.
For Trump, it's off-the-cuff remarks that leave voters wondering about his intent. For Clinton, it's emails and her private server raising questions about her honesty. As Craig Boswell shows us, both issues were at front and center of campaign 2016 again today.
Donald Trump stuck to his message while campaigning in Southern Virginia Wednesday.
If I get in, this is what it is, okay?
But it was an off-the-cuff remark Trump made Tuesday about Hillary Clinton that is dominating headlines.
If she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know.
Trump says he was rallying voters, not inciting violence.
We've got another unnecessary controversy on a day when Hillary Clinton should have multiple problems in the eyes of the American public.
That's a reference to multiple emails, roughly 300 pages of them newly released to a conservative watchdog group, some of them suggesting possible ties between the Clinton Foundation and the State Department. One email between a Clinton Foundation aide and Secretary Clinton's Deputy Chief of Staff, Huma Abedin, appears to center on finding a job. Another exchange involves a billionaire donor and the U.S. ambassador to Lebanon. A Clinton spokesman denies any connection.
Nothing as nice.
Clinton is focusing on job creation in Des Moines, Iowa.
So in my first 100 days, we are going to do some big investments in infrastructure and clean energy technology and advanced manufacturing and small business.
The Clinton campaign has formed a new group of elite Republicans and independents who say they will work to elect her. Craig Boswell, CBS News.
The Trump campaign says the latest emails show more Clinton character flaws and that she views public office as a way to get rich. Police want to find a mother accused of committing a crime in the presence of her children. What she's suspected of doing on WKYT News at 5:30.
A new study looks at the best ways to prevent Lyme disease, and the Girl Scouts make an announcement that will have you looking forward to cookie season. The story's next in Better Living. It's time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Lyme disease affects more than 300,000 people each year. Now new research looks at the best way to prevent getting bit by ticks that transmit the disease. Marley Hall has the details from Connecticut.
The Hopwood family has been battling Lyme disease for years. Dad Mark was first to be infected in 2010.
Noticed I was getting dizzy and very quickly fatigued. I was like bedridden, and then they finally diagnosed me.
His wife and 2 children were diagnosed years later.
It's been a really long road for us.
A new CDC study reviews decades of research on how to control the black-legged tick that transmits the disease and prevent bites.
It's very difficult. Ticks are very small.
Dr. Mela Shu of the Global Lyme Alliance says people need to be vigilant about wearing long sleeves, socks, shoes, and repellent.
Taking showers after being outdoors and checking ourselves, our children, our pets, for the presence of ticks.
Researchers recommend homeowners take steps to keep ticks out of their yards. Getting rid of leaves and spraying insecticides can lower the number of ticks by about 80%.
The Hopwoods live in a wooded area and are very aware of what they need to do.
Make sure you're not in the woods and then just going home and going to bed. You have to, take a shower, wash your clothes, be cautious.
And watch for symptoms including pain, fatigue, and headaches, because the earlier Lyme is treated, the better. Marley Hall, CBS News, Trumbull, Connecticut.
The Global Lyme Alliance says that while Lyme disease is prevalent in the Northeast and upper Midwest, it has been reported in all 50 U.S. states. Millions of Americans may be exposed to unsafe drinking water. A Harvard study found unsafe levels of an industrial chemical called PFSAs in water samples from across the country. It's used to make things like food packaging, fabrics, and nonstick cooking pans. Studies have linked the chemicals to high cholesterol, obesity, cancer, and weakened immune systems in children. The highest levels were found near industrial sites, military bases, and wastewater treatment plants. The Girl Scouts planning to offer new items when cookies go on sale next year. Today they announced s'mores cookies. There will be two versions, a crispy graham cookie double dipped in cream icing and a chocolate coating, and a crunchy graham sandwich with chocolate and marshmallow filling. The new cookie will be carried in select markets during the 2017 cookie season. Now here's what's coming up for you at 5:30.